I chose her best friend's father. That summer, I moved into the guest house behind my best friend Olivia's family home. I told myself it was temporary, just a place to regroup after my marriage had ended in quiet, cruel betrayal. But the moment Marcus opened the door that first evening, everything inside me shifted. He was taller than I remembered, his hair laced with silver like threads of wisdom, and his eyes, dark, steady, and unreadable, lingered on me just a fraction too long before he smiled. My life at 37 had been built to be safe. I owned a small interior design business that had just landed its first big hotel project. I had a tight circle of friends, and until a year ago, I believed I had a loving marriage. I cherished the predictability of mornings with coffee in the same chipped mug and the muted joy of Sunday dinners. Olivia and I had been inseparable since high school. She knew all my secrets, except for the newest one forming in the shadows. The day my life cracked wide open was cold for late spring. I came home early from a client meeting to find my husband leaning against the kitchen counter, his voice lowered on the phone. When his eyes met mine, they widened with something like fear. The conversation ended abruptly, and before I could even ask, he confessed, flat, almost rehearsed, that he had been seeing someone else for months, someone younger. As his words tumbled out, all the color drained from the room. My chest felt tight, my ears roared, and even the air smelled wrong, sharp and metallic, like it did before a storm. The weeks after were a blur of paperwork, muted calls from friends, and long, empty nights staring at the ceiling. I moved into Olivia's guest house because she feared I might vanish into myself if left alone. The first few days there, I heard Marcus long before I saw him, his voice low through the open windows, the baritone warmth of it rumbling through the vines between the main house and the guest house. He worked from home some days, pacing across the kitchen, sleeves rolled up, smelling faintly of cedar and espresso when he passed me in the driveway. At night, I'd catch the glow of his study lamp from the guest house window, a square of amber light in the dark. It started with small things, him bringing me a plate of pasta Olivia had made when she worked late, offering to fix the old hinge on my door, asking how my day had been with a focus I had not felt from anyone in a long time. One evening in late June, rain hammered the roof of the guest house, and the power flickered out. I heard a knock, Marcus holding a lantern, water dripping from his hair. He insisted I wait in the main house until the storm passed. We sat in the kitchen, the room lit by the soft orange glow from the lantern. The storm rattled the windows, and the smell of rain pressed in, and somehow our voices pulled closer in the dim light. He asked about my work, my marriage, my plans. He listened in a way that made the air between us hum. There was nothing reckless about it, yet, but something unspoken stirred. The first time our hands touched was accidental, reaching for the same dish towel on the counter. His fingers brushed mine, a slow, lingering contact that sent a warm pulse through my chest. If this confession has you holding your breath, hit like and share, because you will not believe what happened after that first touch. After that night, I noticed everything. How his gaze seemed to rest on me longer when Olivia wasn't looking. How he would find reasons to wander past the guest house in the evenings. How he always knew when I had skipped dinner and would arrive with a glass of wine and something warm wrapped in foil. I tried to push it away, tried to imagine Olivia's face if she suspected. Some lines should never blur. But one late July afternoon, we ended up alone on the back porch. Olivia was out of town for work, and I had been sketching layouts for the hotel lobby. He brought coffee, sat across from me, and asked how I was really doing. I told him the truth, that I still dreamed about my ex, but in those dreams he barely looked at me. That the silence in my own head had become heavier than the shouting ever was. Marcus leaned back in his chair, eyes on me in that steady, unflinching way. "You deserve to be chosen," he said quietly, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. The words splintered something in me, and for the first time in months, my lungs felt like they could fill completely. The weeks that followed wrapped around us slowly, like ivy climbing an old brick wall. We did not talk about what was happening. We let the glance linger a second too long, let our knees bump under the porch table, let the air between us grow charged and electric. There was longing, yes, but also something healing in it. Two people who had been knocked down by loss and found, almost by accident, a place to lean. One warm August night, the sky turning gold at the edges, I found him sitting in the garden, the fading sunlight casting soft shadows across his face. I walked over, meaning to say goodnight, but he reached up and caught my wrist gently. "You've been walking around like you are waiting for permission," he said, his voice low, "but you don't need mine to start living again." I felt every word settle deep, a quiet permission, not for him but for myself, to want, to be wanted, to step into something uncertain but alive. Even now, I do not know where this will go. I know the risks. I know how easily love can destroy friendships and how one wrong step could shatter the family I have known since I was 17. But I also know what it feels like to come back to life, to breathe in the scent of cedar and rain, and feel your pulse race because someone is looking at you like you are the answer to a question they have been carrying for years. And maybe that is worth something. If you crave more raw, emotional confessions, please like, share, and subscribe. Your next chapter awaits.